Hello everyone and welcome to our latest Whirlwind Heights forecast center update. Whirlwind Heights is back, better than ever. In this forecast, we're going to discuss the jet stream across the United States over the next few weeks, which could bring some significant severe weather after a relatively normal weather pattern, which has brought quieter weather to the country. And eventually, I might even see a mega block weather pattern occurring. But that's a few weeks out, so that's very uncertain as of now. And we're going to talk about the severe weather over the next few days, which is coming back at us with a slight risk of severe weather tomorrow. Where we have a tornado risk. A few isolated tornadoes cannot be ruled out. We got a damaging wind risk of 15%. So, the severe weather is coming to make a return. We also got a few elevated fire risks, and we got some more flooding on the way. A lot of excessive rainfall outlooks. All the excessive rainfall outlooks out right now for the next 5 days are showing slight risks of excessive rainfall for different areas. We're also going to discuss the Pacific Ocean. After this quieter period in the Pacific Ocean is coming back to be very active in tropical activity. And we may even see a tropical disturbance develop in the Atlantic Ocean. So, we're going to look at that when looking at the jet stream in the United States as well. And, yeah, without much more to talk about in this intro, let's roll the forecast. Alright guys, and to start off, we're going to look at our SPC outlooks, starting off with today, which is just simply a marginal threat of severe weather. We got like 4 severe thunderstorm warnings right now at the time I'm filming this here in Nebraska. So, that's a threat right there in Nebraska. And just generally across the Midwest today, we got a risk of isolated severe weather. Same for southern Arizona, and same for the Mid-Atlantic. We actually have a severe thunderstorm warning for Morgantown. So it's a little active this morning, but tomorrow, again, let's just go back to today. Today, no tornado risk. The tornado risk just simply doesn't exist. 5% wind risk for all these areas, and then 5% wind risk for the 2 northern areas. Tomorrow, we had a risk for all hazards. A slight risk of severe weather is in place for eastern Iowa, southern Wisconsin, northern Illinois, and to northwestern Indiana. We also got a marginal threat here in the Carolinas. And again, southern Arizona is under the gun for severe weather tomorrow. And our tornado risk does exist tomorrow. It is a 2% tornado risk that's going to be stretching from places like Waterloo to places like Huntington. Waterloo's not in this, but basically Waterloo, Iowa is very close to this tornado risk, and it can grow by tomorrow. The same areas that are under a 2% tornado risk are also under a 15% wind risk. And there's a 5% wind risk stretching all the way into South Dakota. Our hail risk is a 5% in South Dakota. Monday, is yet again another slight risk of severe weather. Some of the same areas that are under the gun tomorrow are under the gun again Monday. We got Monday a slight risk of severe weather. No hatching as of now, but we do got a severe weather event on the way for Monday, and then there are no other risks outlined after that. Alright, and now we're going to go over our excessive rainfall outlooks. And we're going to start off with today's, which is barely holding on to a slight risk of severe weather here for Savannah, Charleston, Beaufort. I'm not even going to try to say I pronounced that correctly. Alright, but marginal threat stretched across the East Coast today. And there's also one here in the Midwest, one here in Arizona, and then tomorrow there's another risk in Arizona, and a slight risk of excessive rainfall in the same areas that are under the gun for significant severe weather, maybe a little bit up north. And so guys, so be ready in this area for some flooding rainfall, and then those areas are under the gun again tomorrow. Chicago is very unlucky right now, but tomorrow is another slight risk of excessive rainfall, and that's for the Ohio Valley, and that's for Monday. See, there's also a slight risk Monday for southern Arizona as well. Tuesday, once again, Chicago's under the gun again, and this also stretches down into Ohio and even West Virginia, which this would be a bad landslide problem here, perhaps, if this were to get worse. I mean, not a bad landslide problem, but landslides would not be ruled out with this. And then Wednesday is another slight risk for West Virginia. But that's your excessive rainfall risk over the next few days. We're just going to go over our fire risks because even though it's a low fire risk, okay, I had to reload that for a second. All right. Even though there's a low fire risk, it is so widespread. Like, there are so many states under the gun for fires. Starting off with today, we got a fire risk for the Pacific Northwest, into northeastern California, northern Nevada, and into the Rockies. Another slight risk here in the Oklahoma Panhandle, southeastern Colorado, a sliver of northeastern New Mexico, and a bit of Kansas. You'll not even gonna try to pronounce that. And Yucatan. Alright, and then tomorrow, another elevated risk of fires. Most of the areas that are under the gun today are under the gun again tomorrow. There's not very many areas that get a new fire risk tomorrow that weren't under one today. So we got one for Oregon into northeastern California and farther south into Carson City, Twin Falls, so Idaho, and into the Rockies there tomorrow, and another one for northern Texas and western Oklahoma. Let's now go over the activity in the Pacific Ocean, because this is wild. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. It's definitely low risks of tropical development, but we do have them existing. We got one today, or not today. I mean, we got one right here just off the coast of Mexico, around the same area that Genevieve impacted a few weeks ago. There are risk of a tropical storm or tropical disturbance developing in the next 48 hours is a 0% chance of happening, and in the next week or so, it's a 20% chance of happening. That's a low risk. Tomorrow, I keep saying today, tomorrow, and stuff like that. Sorry, I mean, this risk right here is just to the west of that one, and right here is a 0% chance of developing in the next 48 hours, but in the next week it's a 30% chance of developing. So a bit higher than what we're going to see just to the east of this. And then just to the southeast of Hawaii is another risk of tropical development, a 0% chance of development in the next 48 hours, but a 60% chance of development in the next week. So it's actually more than likely that this will develop, and it could become something on the stronger side, like a tropical storm or a low-end hurricane. But I would be ready either way if you're in Hawaii, because if this does form, it could make major impacts on Hawaii. That missed potential that Fausto had. That Fausto had a missed opportunity, and I thought that there was going to be some big impacts to Hawaii due to Tropical Storm Fausto, but it weakened drastically and also went up north, so it wasn't much of a threat. Okay, so now we're gonna go over our models, and I'm gonna look specifically at the 300 millibar wind. And it seems like the GFS is updated here, so we're gonna look at the 300 millibar wind here. When this loads, there we go. So here's what it's showing. This shows, the GFS shows a pretty big tropical storm, probably even a hurricane, just to the south of Hawaii. And it probably would make some kind of impact on Hawaii. Definitely some waves or something. It's pretty far out, about a week or so, so it's very unclear if this is going to happen, but the GFS has been pretty accurate this year when it comes to the Pacific activity. There's a slight movement to the north, and if this were to continue, then it could make more impacts on Hawaii. Definitely not a good thing. Fausto was going to try to do that as a tropical storm to Hawaii and completely failed at it. But this shows this being some kind of tropical cyclone for a while before going just straight up into these winds here. Let's look at these other areas. Really nothing else I see on here on GFS. Even though maybe a little bit of this, but I don't know if that's a tropical storm. Let's go to the Atlantic Ocean, because this is interesting. We actually got a 20% chance of development in the next 7 days out here in the Atlantic Ocean. Now, in the next 48 hours, it's a 0% risk, and overall it's pretty low, but the GFS actually does have this developing into something literally out here in the Sargasso Sea. Sargasso Sea. Alright, and I'm not sure, again, it's very unclear as of now, but the GFS would have this going close to Bermuda. Not the time to actually prepare for a tropical storm, because it's very unclear what's going to happen with that. Even though I do think there might be a sneaky tropical storm threat. Let's see what... I do think that there's a sneaky tropical storm threat here in the Pacific Ocean, because we got a low pressure system. Not the Pacific Ocean, excuse me, the Gulf of Mexico. There's actually maybe a sneaky tropical storm threat. We're gonna continue to go over this, but I mean, maybe it definitely looks like it could turn into something. Alright, and now we're gonna go over the jet stream, or have we done that? Or no, we haven't. Alright. As you can see, we've entered this massive zonal pattern for a little bit, which has limited our severe weather. But as you can see here, that's breaking soon. And that zonal pattern is going to break, and this is going to allow for more intense severe weather events to go into the United States. Triggering. So I do think that in the second or third week of August, we probably will see some kind of severe weather revamp across the United States. So we're going to see how that goes. But again, it does look like severe weather could definitely make a return. And now let's go to the final part of the video, which is going to be our temperature anomalies. And I'm going to look at these more often now, because it gives you a better idea of your heat and stuff. And as you can see, we got a lot of relief right now here in the eastern central United States and into the mid-Atlantic. As you can see, it's still going to get pretty hot here in Oklahoma. Here's what I'm going to do. As you can see, there's a big heat wave coming to the Great Plains. So I was actually incorrect in my last forecast about this, and I'm going to start using this from now on, so because it gives you a better idea of which areas are actually dealing with temperatures that they don't normally deal with. Like, maybe there's an area that's at 115 degrees Fahrenheit, but that's only what, like 5 degrees higher than the average temperature. But there's an area that you could have an area that's like 80 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's like 20 degrees Fahrenheit above the average temperature. But still going to be shifting to the south over the next few days, so. But eventually, I think that this heat dome is going to break, and we're actually going to see a bit of relief here in Oklahoma. But it's going to get even colder out here in the eastern central United States. We're talking temperatures almost 20 degrees below average. That is you might actually need a jacket in this. I'm not too sure about that, but I don't know. Like, this is pretty cool weather that's coming. It's definitely gonna get pretty cool out here too. We're talking 20 degrees below average. So it looks like it's going nowhere. So yeah, that's your forecast for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and we're gonna continue to post videos today. I'm gonna be a lot more consistent today, and I'll see you guys in the next one.